Download time. It's weekly download time. Now it's time for the weekly download. Download time. It's weekly download time. Now we're going to learn some stuff. It's download time. It's weekly download time. Now it's time for the weekly download. Download time. It's weekly download time. And now we're going to learn some stuff. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it looks like everything is working. Apologies if the video gets laggy at any point. I'm at a friend's house and not at my home. But I want to talk today about setting up your library. Yes, I know this is the second weekly download this week, but sometimes I do more than one because I'm crazy. Yeah, so this is one of those times. All right, so today I want to talk a little bit about setting up your library. Every year I like to go and make a new 2018 library. Well, every year, so this is the drum section. So what I do is I go in and I think of all of the different categories of sounds that I want, and I make a big list of folders. And then what I want to do is see, I have this external hard drive with just like gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs of samples. So some of the things that I'll do is I'll go into my library and I'll do a search for kick, right? And then it'll turn up all of the kicks in my entire fucking library. And then I go in and I go find all the best ones and I drag them into a folder. And then in each of these folders, I'll have like, this is all my processed claps. And then in each of these folders, I will go and, this is in progress, so it's not done, but each of these folders, I'll go make a best of the best folder. So you want to have a ton of stuff in the folder, and then you want to have like your 5 best ones. So I'll go through and see which of these are just amazing. That one's pretty good. So I'll bring that into the best of the best. And these are samples from all over. Oh yeah, that one's pretty nice. Yeah, so like etc etc etc. So you have all your best of, and then you have a nested best of the best folder. So that's what I'm making here, right? And then each one of these folders is gonna have it's gonna have like a ton of stuff, and then it's gonna have a best of the best. So there's all my hi-hats, and then I want to pick just the best 5 hi-hats, and then I'm gonna work on them a little bit and get them to the best of the best. Because sometimes you want to go through a whole folder of samples, and then sometimes you just want like let's say you're making a 128, you'll go through a whole folder of the samples, and then sometimes like if you're going to go audio editing style, you want to have like your best favorites one in there. Okay, so what's a 128? That's a good question at this point. So when you don't want to go through like a folder of samples and you just want to have an ability to go through a whole folder of samples without actually going into sample folders, then you're going to make what's called 128s. So 128s are they're sampler multis, right? And this is kind of like, this is an organization trick I invented a few years ago that is kind of my claim to fame in Ableton world. So in addition to prepping these folders where you have all your best, when you have a folder that has a ton of stuff, for example, in here, let's go to, what are we going to do? Let's go get all of the melodic samples from this sample folder. By the way, the NeuroHop Forum sample packs, I really recommend these samples. Here, I'll go show you where NeuroHop Forum sample pack. There's sample packs 1 and 2. They're really fucking cool. They're huge sample packs, and they're really really nice. So you can go here and get all of these sample packs and download them, and they're all copyright free, and they're made by the members of the NeuroHop Forum. Another place that you can go if you want free samples is go to freesound.org. I go here a lot, and you can find samples of absolutely anything. The other day I was working on a track with Scoobs, and I joked, I was like, hey, you could probably even find a sample of a queef. And then we were like, okay, let's try it, queef. And then if you go here, sure enough, there's this amazing queef sample. And that sample made it into my track, Marble Madness. Here, Here, I'll show you it. But yeah, check it out. You hear the queefs? Oh wait, actually I gotta open this in QuickTime for you to hear the queefs.
Yo man, these jams be kicking, man.
If they make you wanna move, then move.
Listen at the end of the phrase. But yeah, you can hear that queef is in there. Very, very excellent sounds. But yeah, you can get sounds of fucking anything there. The NeuroHop forum is really good. If you go to reddit.com/r/EDM production, like this, this is an EDM production message board. Don't post because they're a bunch of dicks, but there's a lot of good stuff in there if you are a lurker. And if you go to EDM production, then you go to top, and then you sort by top of all time, right? Look at all of these cool free samples and stuff, you know? So, yeah, I made a pack of 514 presets for Native Instruments Massive. I decided to give them all away. I made a 5 GB sample pack with beats, etc. So you search by top. Oh, look, there's an AMA with the Glitch Mob. There's an AMA with Dr. P, etc., etc. Here's all these different vocal chops. So you can go in there and get all kinds of free samples. So if you just want to, now my studio template, I like to have the best of the best in my studio template, but I also like to take everything else and organize it into 128s. So I'll show you how you make a 128. So 128 is basically a folder of samples where you can scroll through the folder of samples. So I'm going to do that with this melodic samples folder from the NeuroHop forum. So I'm going to take all these samples and I'm going to bring them in. So it says there's 80 something. That's not 128. So you want 128 for this trick to work. So I'm going to just select them all and duplicate. And now if I select, I can see that there's, you know, there's more than 128 samples. Let's see. Yeah, oh, 122. So I'll duplicate a few more of them at the end to make 128. Okay, so now if you select them all, as long as there's 128 or more, if you right-click, distribute ranges equally. That's the trick. Right-click, distribute ranges equally. And then you get one sample per MIDI note going all the way up the keyboard, and then you get some extras at the end, which if you're being anal, you can delete them. But yeah, so then you have one sample per MIDI note, right? And then I like to not have any velocity to volume, and then I will go and save it. And then when I save it, I'll say NHF for NeuroHop Forum melodic samples. And now I'm always going to have that. And you see how it's copying all the files to my library? That's definitely what you want, because right now these files, these are all on my external hard drive. But if I have this option here in the library, collect files on export, if I have that set to always, that's going to copy it in. And then anytime I need these melodic samples, I can drag them in. And check this out. This is really cool. If you group to drum rack, in the drum rack, right, expand the chains, you can see here this receive and play. You can use the play to set which, here, let's go down here. So this play field now changes samples. And then let's see what's right, and you can just duplicate these out. I like to make little families of sounds on the rows. So that's a kind of cool thing you can do with the 128. Another cool thing you can do with the 128 is get a MIDI effect arpeggiator and then put a few steps here. Let's go all the way up to 7 steps and make them of 1 semitone and make them kind of fast, and you get these cool little rhythms. It kind of depends on, like these ones, they don't all start right at the beginning. It can sound really cool with drums. But yeah, so you can make really cool things with the 128. So you can just load them in and play a melody or play a pattern. Like here, I'll put the metronome on. Right? And then let's say I want to overdub. But see, those two are legato in that they're touching, so that means it'll bend it up. But then you could, for example, take the voicing. I like that because it allows you to bend them, but if I take the voicing and put it to more, then you'll get two sounds. Oh wait. Right, and you can make little. But you're essentially going through a folder of samples using the MIDI notes. You could also use a MIDI pitch plugin to change the notes here, but I like to change them in the drum rack. But yeah, so you can use this to select within it. You can use these guys to select within it. But it's really good to have a lot of these sounds in your library ready to go. And if I go into my user library, these are all 128s. Like, look at this shit. There's like so many 128s that I've spent a long time. Actually, wait, I think I gotta hide the, yeah, here, just a second. I'll hide my ugly mug here. Let's mute that. Yeah, so if I can go into my library here, you can see these are all 128s, like tons and tons of 128s. So anytime I'm going through a folder in my sample library, I'll do that. So I'm just gonna review that process for you. Okay, so first thing is get a sampler. Second thing is get a folder of samples. So here, just a second. Let's get out of that folder. So let's go. Is there enough vocals in here? No. Okay, let's go to Foley. Okay, so let's take all this Foley samples, right? Now I'm just going to drag in all these. Whoa, there's a lot. There's a lot of Foley samples. Okay, so I'm going to drag all these Foley samples in. Whoa, 365. Okay, that's too many. Okay, so you only want 128. So I'm just going to take the first 128 of them. Yeah, if you go to sample, it'll tell you how many you have selected. I want approximately 128. Oh, 121. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so everything after that I'm going to delete. And then select all, so you have 128. So you can see it says on the sampler 128 samples. And then just right click, distribute ranges equally. Boom, there you go, one sample per key, nice and easy. If you did want to play these melodically, oh yeah, and then you save. Okay, so I'm going to save NHF Foley 1. And now I'll always have all of the samples in my library that are like ready. So definitely do that to all your sample folders, but you're also, because this is kind of bulky, you're also probably going to want to have a portable library, and that's and to just have the best of the best of the best. So that's why I also recommend doing, that's why I also recommend doing this technique where you make your own folders, because if you've gone in and like hand selected all of your best sounds in these folders, and then you've made a best of the best inside that folder, then you don't even have to waste time going through a 128. You know you have your best samples right there, and if they're all kind of categorized, it's really it really helps. And then also, let's say that, like, I, for example, don't always use Ableton. I sometimes use an MPC, I sometimes produce on iOS, I sometimes produce on Machine, and really having all of your options limited in this way so that you have like a nice tight like 2 gigabyte library of all your favorite sounds that you can bring from device to device. It's really going to help you to to be able to port your work over to different devices, and also just to waste the least amount of time. So I'm going to turn my camera back on here, and I want to talk about a few other things. Okay, so here, let's make sure the stream's still going. Any questions? Hey. Okay, cool. Whoa, Facebook's kind of tripping out here. Any questions? Yeah, the best of folder is very, very good. Oh, that Devon Sky, you know, that track's been done for a while. For class of 8, I recommend Ableton, but I work on lots of different DAWs. Okay, cool. So that's enough question time. All right, so these best of folders, I do this at the beginning of every year. Oh God, I gotta stop Facebook from doing that. It's tripping out. My video card doesn't like Facebook for some reason. So I do this best of the best every year. But then I also like to have these 3 special folders that are basically, because the thing is, you know, it's really important to have all of your kind of meat and potatoes sounds at your fingertips, like all your laser zaps and your bleeps and bloops and your claps and kicks and snares and subs and blah, 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 blah. But you're also going to want to have certain sounds that you're not reusing that are different on each track. So I like to have a folder called the Purple Cow folder, and in that Purple Cow folder, that's just all the craziest, most like what the fuck sounds ever. I have a folder called Sparks, and the Sparks folder, that's all sounds that are like really inspiring and make you want to start a whole track just based around that sound. And then I like to have a folder called Faces, and the Faces folder is all things that are like a title concept for a track. So for example, I've been meaning to remix Time to Get Ill by the Beastie Boys, but I haven't done it yet. So, you know, I have this in my Faces folder. I know that that's going to be the central face of the track. That's going to be what the track is all about. And that's like, you know, the memorable part of that track. So I know that that's like the face of the track. So that would be in my Faces folder. Now I haven't populated these. I'm still like over the next few days working on this. But I am doing a detailed studio template workshop where I'm going to go in and show all the things and the ins and outs of the studio template. So definitely sign up for that workshop. I'm not sure where the link is, but let's see. I think if you go to, maybe it's the breakthroughworkshop.com. Let me just check the breakthroughworkshop.com. But yeah, I'm doing a dedicated studio template workshop. Here, I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, I'm doing a dedicated, it's almost full actually, but I'm doing a dedicated studio template workshop very soon. Let's see if I can find the link. Boop. Sorry, there's been a lot of. Okay, so here we are. Actually, yeah, I'll post it. So it's theclassof808.com slash. Oh shit! What have I done? Okay, so theclassof808.com slash 2018 dash studio dash template dash workshop. Yeah, it was cool. I listened to it. Dash registration. Okay. Okay, so I think that's the right link. Let's see if this works. Yes. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go post this in the Facebook chat. But that is there you go. That studio template workshop. That is going to be a very, very detailed workshop about making studio templates. Oh, hey, what's up, Lexi? Derek says, can you iOS smart folders using tags and metadata of the files to quick grab the file to smart folder in Ableton? I don't know anything about smart folders. I just organize my shit like this, you know, where I have, you know, I just make a bunch of folders in the Finder, you know, and then do it like that. So yeah, so you're going to want to have all your drums in one place. And then you'll notice too in my drums, I have Foley sounds, I have glitches, I have sound effects, vocal shots, you know, there's a bunch of bleeps, you know, those are not necessarily drum sounds, but they're in with the drums because they sometimes sound nice in a drum rack. There's also this patches folder, and I'm going to basically go through my library and get all my favorite patches, you know, like the best Reese patch, the best Poly patch, the best lead patch, the best pluck, the best strum, the best whatever. Get all those patches into the patches. But these top level ones, the Purple Cow, the Sparks, and the Faces, those ones are super important, and those ones should be custom for each track. Because you want each track, like the template is just basically a vehicle for you to work quickly. And then the tracks, the tracks themselves. Oh wait, here, I'll hold this over here so you can see it. Yeah, so you can see drums, just the faces, the Purple Cow, and the Sparks. Those folders are all very essential. So you would not recycle the sounds in the Sparks, faces, and Purple Cow folders. Like those are kind of like top level concepts, and then the rest of the shit is there to kind of to back it up quickly when you're when you're working, because really, like, all this formula and organization and stuff, like it's easy to look at an organized workflow and go like, oh, this is only going to generate formulaic music, right? But what makes it not formulaic is the fact that each track has its own central theme and its own concept at the top of the kind of pyramid of what your priorities are. There is like, number one is conveying an idea, conveying an emotion, conveying a theme. So you would not recycle those, So having those top level folders, the Sparks, which are inspirations, faces, which are title concepts or lyrical concepts, and then the Purple Cow, and those are just like the crazy sounds. You can also make a folder of what's called stingers, and those are like, like let's say, like the damn son, where'd you find this? When that all the trap people were putting in. That would be a stinger, or like, you are listening to Arab music or whatever. People put stingers, so you can make that folder. But yeah, basically think of all the folders that you can name, all the different sound categories that you can name, and populate those folders. So basically for the last 2 days, I've just been sitting here going like, okay, let's look up all my guitars. Okay, and then I've just been sitting here and just going through like thousands of samples. It's really tedious, but it is super, super worth it when you go through all these guitars and you get like just your best guitars. And then next time you need a guitar, it's there. So if you're looking for studio New Year's resolutions, Organize Your Library is definitely a good one. Hopefully that's a little bite-sized idea of how you organize your library. I am going to go into much more detail later. Make sure to sign up for the Studio Template Workshop. I just put the link there. I'll paste it again. Actually, I should go over to YouTube and paste it on YouTube so that all the lovely people on YouTube can get it as well. But yeah, you definitely want to come to the Studio Template Workshop. Or here, I'll get this. This link is better. Just a moment. Okay. Where are we? Oh, weird. It won't let me paste for some reason. Okay. Strange. YouTube is being all silly today. Okay. Weird. All right. YouTube won't let me paste in there. How annoying. Okay. Well, whatever. Sometimes programs are annoying. Okay. But yeah, so that's what you do. That's how you make 128s. You put them into the sampler, select them all, right-click, distribute ranges equally. You could also do it by velocity or sample selector, depending on how you're feeling. I find key is the most useful, but like let's say you're using melodic samples, you'd want to organize those by sample selector, and then that way you can play on the whole keyboard. If you want more detail on that, look up Eskamon, E-S-K-A-M-O-N. I made another tutorial about that. All right, cool. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. I'm going to go get back to working on my studio template. Peace. Oh, hi, Auntie Ellie. Bye.